Yeah, Jen.
How are you?
Shit.
Oh, thank God.
Because they're fucking bastards.
What, in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Fucking took my Tanya.
Nightmare.
Yeah, because I had a water infection. And they were meant to provide help and they never fucking did. And now she wants to come home and they fucking won't let her.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Dramas, them. Well, Paige is in a secure unit, mate, in Dover.
Fucking, they're bastards. They do it for money.
Chick, don't get upset.
Well, it's coming up my fucking daughter's 6th birthday and I've not seen her in 5 years. How much do they expect me to take?
Oh, Chick, don't cry, honey. Calm, babe. Calm, sweetie.
I'm a fucking good mum as well, and everybody fucking says so. They won't tell me what I need to do to fix it. I just can't fucking do it anymore, Jem. You look really well though.
Really? I'm not.
You look alright.
Detox again, Chick.
Yeah,
12th August.
you can do it. I've done it before, you can do it. They just fucking don't care about what they do to the kids.
I know.
It's like my daughter was there at the last contact, going, you know, oh, I can't wait till like we can have a normal time where we don't have to get up and walk about. They give us 1 hour a week. And they're meant to have a meeting today, it's 40 fucking minutes late. I'm not happy. Still.
Nightmare, Chick. I've got to get on the phone, man.
Yeah, no.
If I see you on the way back, I'll chat.
Alright, darling. We arranged the 5th of July at St James's Centre. You, me and Graham, we put it all in our diaries. You're 40 minutes late.
Then I apologise. I hadn't
Right. Well, if you could take 20 minutes then and go through the contacts and explain to me exactly what it is I'm doing wrong, what I need to do to make it right, and why you think Tanya should be in full-time foster care.
Okay, well, let's go on with right. You know, I didn't have anything with that. Like I said, I'm late then. Is Graham there?
No.
And he hasn't turned up?
No, he hasn't turned up either. But then again, he wasn't in contact last week, so...
Yeah, and like I say, I can only apologise, Joe. If it was an error on our part, then obviously I own it and I apologise for that.
Okay. Get my pad out so I can make my notes. Where are my contact notes as well?
Joe, I'm totally unprepared for this meeting.
You should never be unprepared. You should always be able to tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Joe, I don't have it in my diary. I apologise for it because this has taken me by surprise.
Yeah, but you've had Tanya in your custody since October. You should be able to tell me off the top of your hat what I'm doing wrong and why I'm a danger.
Okay, let's go there. Let's go back on this, all right? Because actually, okay, let's take this back to the beginning. Because yes, I can talk off my head.
I'm listening.
Right. Okay. You know as well as I do why Joe came into care.
Do you mean Tanya?
Sorry,
Because I'm Joe.
why?
No, well, no, I don't actually.
Right, okay.
I want you to explain it to me because I'm not a stupid person. So I would like you to tell me, as you saw me feed her, you saw me give her my best, and nobody else. Why didn't you hold a child protection conference?
Well, those were decisions which were taken at the time. The anxiety around Tanya was that there was a substance which was actually in her reach, and the concern was that Tanya would go and take that substance, therefore putting her at risk. But
one incident.
So that was.
As you know, by working together to safeguard children, nothing should be ever based on a single incident.
Yeah,
I've known drug dealers not even get this severity.
Joe, I'm trying
Okay,
to
yeah,
explain.
I'll shut up then.
Please let me talk. You know, I think the other concerns was that there were concerns about Tanya's increase in weight, that she wasn't following through on a physiotherapy that was further impacting her, and that was creating problems for her. So there were concerns about her.
Yeah, but I got a certificate to say that I was doing physio with her.
But that was the information which which we had.
No, you were given lots of information, but you denied a child protection conference because you didn't want the other professionals to say, because you know they would have classed us as a family in need. Why didn't you provide the support you promised?
Right, on that point, I mean, let's take that back a step. Now, I'm not going to cop out of it saying it wasn't my case at the time.
You're a social worker manager. It's always there, all your cases.
But those were decisions which were taken at that time. I'm more than happy to go back and actually clarify, to seek clarification on that point, if you wish. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely do.
So I will do that.
Right, now why? What risk do I pose?
I did a capacity to change report, which I talked to, all right? The concerns I have with Tanya as a person with additional needs and complex needs, and the emotional fallout of all the stuff which you've shared, between yourself and Graham, and all the issues around that, and how that's impacted Tanya, the stuff around her, what's the expression of, not oppositional, I'm thinking of the term, avoidance, to do things and so on. The view I took was that, or the view we all took was that, given her needs, that you would struggle to meet them.
So you're not prepared to provide support, which you're duty bound by law to provide. As you've never ever given us any support, you're actually saying that without support we wouldn't manage, when we were managing fine. And we were given nothing. In fact, it wasn't until 3 days until you failed to provide promised support that there was actually, the threshold was crossed. But you came and did them spot checks. I didn't fail a single one. And none of you came in and helped me. And I still had a water infection. Why haven't you listened to the GP? Why are you not now listening to Tanya when she's asking to come home?
Well, let's move that forward actually a bit. If you remember, because you've said that I'm not working with you, okay?
You're not.
Well,
you're saying the words, but you're refusing to meet me.
So
you're refusing to work with me. You're talking about full-time foster care because you're saying I can't cope, but you're not prepared to offer us any support. You're duty bound by law to provide that.
So we have established contact, haven't we?
1 hour every Friday. Tanya doesn't want it to be enough. She wants to come and see the flat. What's your problems? What's your issues? You've promised to up it. You haven't. Why does there need to be supervision? I've asked you that. What risk do I pose? I've asked you that. You still haven't answered it. You've just said a lot of words that mean nothing. So please, plain English,
okay.
What risk do I pose to my child?
Well, let's look at that. I mean, there was a couple of instances where I come to Joe, where you brought up stuff about the case, and you said that I'm not working with you, to Tanya.
No, I haven't said that to Tanya.
Well, that's the info.
Well, you get that on dictaphone and you play that back for me, because that's just hearsay. I've never said that to Tanya. I don't care. This is my child you've stolen. She's unhappy. She wants to come home. You need to explain to me why she can't.
I will finish the meeting if you carry on. Clear instructions.
Will you be clear with me? Because I'm not stupid. I want you to explain to me what I need to do. Because I've had enough. 6 years of this crap. Nobody's ever told me what I've done wrong. And I've got a qualification to say I can work with children. I'm actually very good with kids. And my daughter wants to come home.
And you see my reports?
Which one?
The capacity change report?
I have looked through the very front of it, but with moving and all the paperwork, so you can explain it to me.
Okay.
Like, you can tell me, you can talk to me, communicate with me, because I'm not a stupid person.
And no one said you are.
Really? You all question my cognitive ability, actually.
Actually, what I have said in that report is that in terms of your cognitive ability, there's clearly nothing wrong with you. I mean, I do question whether you've been impacted by drug and alcohol use over many years.
How?
Well, because Joe, as you say, you're not a stupid person.
No, I'm not, and I've never been a druggie.
And you know as well as I do that extended use of alcohol and drugs can cause neurological damage.
That's why I took thiamine and B12 to make sure of that, and I haven't drank for years. So my brain has repaired. That's why people get shakes and things, but I don't have that anymore because my neurological brain has fixed. Because I made sure I took thiamine so that wouldn't happen, because it wasn't a choice. I didn't choose to be an alcoholic. I didn't go to my parents one day and say, when I grow up, I want to be an alcoholic. No, but I was battered.
Yeah, but no one said you did, Joe. These things come about through...
So being a recovering alcoholic is why I can't have my child. Is that what you're saying?
No. That's not what I'm saying. We've come on to this.
Yeah, because you still haven't answered my one question. How am I dangerous to my child?
The issue was, and actually, and it is in my report, and I personally think, you're in a sense you're a little bit set up, to be frank. And I'll tell you why. For a number of years, you didn't have the care of Tanya or any of your children, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's fact. Okay?
Yeah, no.
Situations, changed last year.
Yeah.
And you're back into a situation where you're caring for a child without, without any preparation or all very...
No preparation. I just had an appendectomy. No support. She didn't even get physio started, even though I went to the doctors. That very first week she arrived with me, we put all the referrals through. I couldn't put them in before because none of you lot would let me until I actually had her physically with me. I did try and get these things set up, but no. So she didn't even have a physiotherapist for about 3 months.
Yeah, and, clearly that's problematic.
Again, what risk do I pose to my child? You've said an awful lot of words, but you're still not answering my question.
Joe, we started off by saying, is that my view is that over the last few years, Tanya has experienced a lot of emotional fallout from yourself, from Graham, and all.
How could she have had it from me when I wasn't allowed involved in her life?
Please let me explain. You and Graham split up, all right? That impacts children. That's not.
Yeah, but that was many years ago.
Many of us.
That was 10 years ago.
Yeah. And a lot of us have relationships where we split up with partners, right?
Yeah. But I always supported their relationship, so.
Tanya then goes off to Graham, and she's with Graham for a few years, 4 years.
3 years, 15 days till I saw her. 4 years she lived.
Yeah. So 4 years she was living in that environment. Then all
in that care where she was hit,
and
berated, put down. She wasn't safe. She didn't know whether she could go home feeling and guarantee that she was going to be loved. But then she came home to me. We were so close, and it's like we hated being separated. We spent hours hugging, making up for the time that is taken away from us, that you are doing again, and you're still not telling me what risk I pose to my child. And I have asked this question repeatedly.
I'm concerned that I'm concerned that you will not be able to meet the needs of Tanya over the next few years. In a nutshell.
Why?
Because I think she has got more. I think she has got more complex needs than a typical adolescent. She's impacted by her cerebral palsy. That means there are additional care needs. They're the other issues which are in my report. I mean, go back and read it. I'm more than happy to sit down with you and go through it page by page. Because I do apologise today about the meeting. I didn't put it in my electronic diary, Joe. I apologise, all right? But anyway, I'm concerned about whether you can meet physical needs physical and emotional needs over the next 5 or 6 years.
Why?
That's a tall order, because she's likely to be more demanding than a typical adolescent. Okay?
But you are here to provide
Well,
support.
let's actually go around that a bit, because I think
What do you mean go around it? That's a fact. It's your duty of care.
No. Let's look at Tanya's needs. This is what we're talking about, right? Tanya is in the mainstream environment.
She is now.
Totally appropriately, Christ the King seems to be meeting her needs. Would you agree? Or, I mean, and I think that Tanya is. She is. I know Joe. She's more able than St George's School, right?
She's more able than St George's School.
She's more able than children who go to St George's School.
I don't even know what St George's School is, if it's a special needs school.
St George's is a special needs school.
She's also more able than most of the kids in Bewley. She doesn't lie, she gets woken up by screams. She wants to come home.
Can I just go on with that? We'll come to that point. So, but she, cognitively, she's appropriately placed in that environment, right? The next few years are going to be difficult for her. She's going to go through adolescence. She's going to see, her peers establishing friendships. Initially, you know all this because you've done child development. Girls.
Yeah, also I know my child and I had to look after her when she was going through the roughest time of her emotional things, when she used to hit me.
Well, let's
and I coped.
Yeah.
I never shouted back.
Okay.
I stood there and took it. Yeah. And slowly I built up her self-confidence and everything.
Joe, please let me.
Well, yeah, I want you to explain to me why I can't do it. And if you're saying that I need to fix or do things in order to be able to cope with her growing needs, why exactly can't I cope with it? Why?
So we've established she's going to have more additional needs. So she's going to see other girls, going off, establishing relationships, establishing boyfriends, which she may or may not do too much later.
She's already got a 15-year-old boyfriend now.
She's got a 15-year-old friend, and we talked about that, who's significantly developmentally disabled.
I still haven't met him, so I don't know, but it is, in her mind, classed as a boyfriend. I know they've kissed.
Yeah. But they are, he is very, very young, Joe. There's no... It's not a typical 15, 16-year-old.
That's irrelevant, really. What I'm saying is she's established a relationship with a lad. And surely a loving mother would be the perfect person to help her with these situations. So why? Why can't I?
Okay, well let's move on from that, right? You say I don't work with you or I haven't worked with you. Well, actually, go back to recommendations I made, because remember you weren't even having contact before I took the case over. Was that fact or not?
Tanya, no, we weren't having any contact. We were having letterbox contact.
So, yeah, but you weren't having face-to-face contact.
No, Tanya was angry with me.
No, and
And she said she's sorry for that, but I totally understand because I know what Tanya's like and I know how she gets. And part of her way of dealing with things is to just kind of clam up. Unless she was encouraged, but no, you didn't encourage her. In fact, one time when her other social worker went in, she ended up having regressing behaviour in school, lashing out, which she hasn't done. And you don't even know what she was like in her other school. She used to lash out all the time, but since being with me, she didn't. She improved. Her behaviour has got better. And now you're getting her upset. She doesn't want to be there. She wants to come home.
Well, let's talk about that next bit, shall we? Because
well, I still don't quite understand why I'm not good enough. So if we could just clarify on that, why won't I be able to cope with her increasing needs?
Because I think you'll struggle to cope with her challenging behaviour.
Why?
Because I think living with Tanya on a full-time basis will prove very stressful to you.
Why?
Because I don't think you'll be able to meet those needs day in, day out.
Why?
Because I think she's going to prove very, very challenging. think you're going to struggle to.
But why am I going to struggle, and how am I going to struggle?
Because I think it's going to prove very wearing.
That's children.
Well,
She's improved. It was very wearing when she was like smacking the hell out of me. It was very testing when she had all of these outbreaks because of what she'd been through with her father. But I have patience. So why and how am I not going to be able to cope? Because you're not answering those questions, which are really the keystones of everything, and you haven't ever answered them. Tell me why I won't be able to cope.
because I think you'll find it overwhelming.
How and why?
Because I think emotionally Tanya can be very demanding, and I think sometimes with your needs.
What needs do I have?
Well, Joe, look at yourself now. You're very angry.
I am livid. You're 40 minutes late for a meeting. You are keeping my child against her will, and you are not telling me how I can make it better, or what I need to do, or what I'm doing wrong. I've had 6 years of this.
Okay.
I will never get this time back. Never. It's gone. Forever. This is my child. So of course I'm going to get angry when you're holding her against her will. It's kidnap.
Okay. The whole thing about contact was to work on developing that, and so you can develop your relationship with Tanya, and see how that goes, and if that works well, for you.
2 months now, and you've been promising to increase it. But yes, again, what risk do I pose to my child?
Well, I think from what I've heard is that the risks which have been posed, Joe, have actually been about that you have said inappropriate things.
Like, give me an example.
Like, I had gotten information back that you had spoken to us about the things like, oh, Jamie doesn't work with me.
I did not say that. Get that on dictaphone and play it back to me.
That was what was said. That's what was said.
You were you there?
No.
Did you hear that? Who said that?
No. So,
Because I never said Jamie wasn't working with me, but none of you are working with me. You're refusing to.
are we refusing to?
Well, you say you're going to work with me, but they are just words. How are you working with me?
We're starting contact.
Yeah, that's me and Tanya. How are you working with me? How are you telling me what I need to do to make sure I can cope with her emotional needs? What tests are you checking to see whether I can meet her emotional needs? You're just saying you don't think I will be able to cope. Where's your facts? What's that based on?
Well, I've said about like I say, the emotional fallout, the emotional stuff.
Yeah, which I coped with no support from you lot very well, and in fact she made great improvements. She's no longer as self-conscious as she was, even though going back into your care she's becoming a bit worse again, being all sorry for this and sorry for that. Poor kid. She's desperate to be perfect so she can come home.
And
She feels like she's doing something wrong.
And she has been reassured about that actually a lot.
Really? Then why did she say it at every contact? Why did she say it last week?
Okay, I will come and observe contact.
Oh great, another person. But fine, fair enough.
Okay.
No, why do I need supervision?
You're telling me. Hang on, you can't have it both ways. You're telling me I'm not working with you. I don't agree with that, because actually I think since the case has come over, I have moved.
Okay, well, you tell me then how.
Let me talk now, because we listened a lot. I put in contact, okay, and re-established that. That's either happened or it hasn't. Has it happened? Yes.
Yes, it has happened, but Tanya wants longer. It's been 1 hour every Friday. It is so closely supervised. People they come up in the queue with us.
Right.
What's that all about?
That point. Let me pick up on that point. Right. Let's go back a few weeks to our meeting with Graham.
A month, which is why we booked it for today.
Okay. And once again, I've apologised for that. At that time, my recollection was that we said we can look towards.
Hello, hiya. Can I just grab you for a second?
Yeah.
Thank you.
let's go back on that point. Right. So you said that we could look towards extending contact. The problem with it is that there weren't the resources yet to extend it, right?
You need to employ more people.
Okay.
Oh, look at that, more money.
Yeah. But those are decisions which I can't make, Joe. All right?
I know, it's quite funny actually how everything sort of like started to tick over once the the budgeting year had been sorted.
Well, I'll have to think about that one. But anyway, so we've started contact. We have said that we will look to increase that, right?
Yeah, over a month ago.
Yeah. But because we can't resource it at this time, we've.
So again, what risk do I pose?
Well, like I said, I think there is a risk of maybe inappropriate conversations with Tanya. We've talked about that, haven't we? And that is a risk.
No, you've accused, even though you weren't there and didn't hear, that I have said to Tanya that you personally aren't working with me. But, you sort of came in and sat down and heard some of my concerns, relayed it to the solicitor completely wrongly anyway. I mean, have you got Zena's address for Tanya? Have you been have you got some sort of contact for her with Karina and Nathan? No. No, you've not acted on any of the things, you've just sat there. And still I'm asking the same question. What risk do I pose? I mean, you're saying it's inappropriate for me to say anything about you guys. If that is the biggest risk I pose, it really is pathetic.
But that's not what I've said, is it?
Yes, no, that's exactly what you're saying. You're saying, because I might say something not so nice about you lot, then that's inappropriate.
Yeah. Well,
that's funny, because you lot are allowed to say loads of horrible things about me around her.
But but once again, Joe, we haven't.
Yeah, no, you have, because she's told me.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't.
No, you haven't personally, but my daughter's told me, and I believe my daughter over you.
Okay, like what?
I cannot think of the specific example she was telling me when we were talking about the courts. Because she raises the questions, and also it is a bit of a breach of a human right, freedom of speech.
Hang on, carry on with what you were saying about she raises, and then you go off one. Focus on that for a minute.
Well, she does raise questions.
Okay, what are those questions?
She's asked about when Emily was there. She's asked about the courts. I cannot actually remember exactly the specific thing that she said, but she has said she has heard things said about me. I cannot remember the words she used, but it was something that wasn't very nice.
If you can remember that and come back, then I will look into.
I'll ask Tanya again. Well, I don't really want to be raising that with Tanya because, I have been trying to support you lot and I have been encouraging her. I mean, she got dropped off. There was no supervisor. I didn't run with her. We went and sat in Costa. And then you go and ask taxi drivers to supervise me.
Hang on. We're talking about several things at once here.
Yeah, because I'm still asking the same question. What risk do I pose? Because we still haven't dealt with that.
Well, we have.
No, you haven't told me what risk I pose, other than I say bad things about you. But you weren't there. You didn't hear me say anything. Yeah. It's just hearsay.
There's negative comment. Right. Okay. I'll spell out whether you agree or not. This is it. Because I've said it before. There's negative stuff which has come out, during your contacts with Tanya, right? Maybe we need to unpick that a bit more. That's one thing. The other thing is, as I've said to you, and I've gone to lengths trying to explain, given her complex needs, I fear you will not be able to meet her needs.
Yeah, and I've asked you over and over again, how and why? How won't I be able to cope? Why do you think that? When I was coping for several months and you've never offered me any support. You actually failed to provide promised support. I was going through a medication change. That's the only reason I didn't cope.
And at that time, once again, you're going to need to remind to actually backtrack to that time because I wasn't working with you then. When you were going through medication change,
you saw me then. You came to the flat then.
That was about October last year, wasn't it?
No, you came during the entire time I was still doing my increase. It went right up until the new year. You can't just up into a top dose of venlafaxine. You have to slowly increase it. So that entire period, when you were like dragging me to and fro from court, I was still increasing on my venlafaxine. So I was still more depressed, which would have like increased my phobias, and like you were making me have to sign for things, leave my flat, which I was finding incredibly difficult.
But you moved into another flat.
Yes, I have a ground floor flat. Look at that.
So
it's perfectly ideal for Tanya. But you're saying I won't be able to cope with her complex emotional needs. Maybe.
I don't.
You don't even know, and you can't tell me why.
Okay, so where we're at the moment is we're at an interim care order, right?
Yeah, but you're going for full-time foster care.
Okay. How would we test that?
How would we test to see whether I can cope? It could easily be increased. We could start with weekends. You know, it could start with an evening and then see where Tanya is, because she's happy with me. She's well loved. She gets all of my time. All of it. I have had so much patience with her. Oh, I didn't come with a remote control. Yeah, you've stolen my baby and she wants to come home.
I've just been told from the start to actually tone it down. So tone it down. Enough.
Joe, we can hear you in the next door room. I need to ask you to keep the noise down a bit, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Still waiting for this question. I mean, how do you propose we test it? Or you've just written me off. You think I won't be able to cope.
Right.
Well, I've managed to cope for months and months and months with all this rubbish.
What?
And I managed to cope for years and years and years before. And I'm not broken yet, although, yeah, you know, we'll never get this time back, ever. This is not what she wants, and really you should be focusing on what Tanya wants and needs. Because, separating her from the only family member she's got left right now, and the other family members that she had, you've taken away from her friends, her life.
Okay. The starting point with this is contact, isn't it? Which we brought in, and that's what we need to build. Because actually, if you go back and bring the report and actually have a proper read of it, you know, what I've said is looking at building contact and building this relationship and so on over a period of time.
Me and Tanya have a relationship. But why are you taking? Why does it take 2 months of 1 hour a week with no increasing, no sign of any increasing? Why does it have to be super? You haven't answered these questions. You're saying a lot of words with no specific things. Like, for instance, you just don't think I'll be able to cope. Why?
Because I think in the past, Joe, you know, you have struggled.
When in the past? When I was doing a medication change and I had a water infection?
But there's also, you know, long-term historical.
When?
Involvement. I've been going back years ago.
Years ago, when I'd just given birth and I'd got a broken toe and a broken head.
But Joe, you know this. You know all of this.
Yeah, it's very extreme circumstances. Nobody's whacked me in the head with a ladder recently. I had just moved from Nottingham. I knew nobody. I had been in... Funnily enough, none of you lot supported me. I had a broken toe, a broken head, a toddler, pregnant, 7-year-old and a disabled kid. And yet, I was going up 3 flights of stairs, and I did that for 23 weeks. No harm has ever come to my child. I went into labour. That's why you got them. And this time, you took her from school. My children have never been taken away from my care because they've come to no harm and I've never hurt them. But these were extreme circumstances, very unlikely to be repeated. I mean, when she first came to me, I just had my appendix taken out. I don't think you can grow another one of them back, you know? So that's not going to happen again. So you're talking about extreme circumstances of history. Yet, funnily enough, when I was being battered black and blue, I still managed to cope. And even though I had a ladder whacked in my head and my toe broken before we moved here, I made sure I went to every single person, her OT, her physiotherapist, and I got up-to-date reports to bring here. I gave it to the school, but none of you helped. We got no support. We've never had any support, and you promised to put in support then. So you tell me, how come where was I failing? Because actually, no, I was doing a damn good job, and up in Nottingham, they were telling me that I was doing a damn good job. I am known as a good mother. I always read them stories. I always put them into bed on time. They were always at school. So how was I not doing a good job?
And have you, because you represented yourself a lot with this, Joe, have you put this into statements?
I have put this into statements to the judge, yeah, and it's going up to High Court soon, so...
Because, well, like as you say, the stuff yourself, you do have a view on it. Hang on.
A view.
You are entitled to share your view.
It is my history. It is my life. And you are claiming I didn't cope in extreme circumstances when you failed to offer any support that was promised. So only at those points were threshold ever crossed. Otherwise you would have taken my kids before. But no. So how did I not cope historically? When? Because I was up in Nottingham a long time and I had an outreach worker. But no, you gave Tanya and Zena to a man who hit a disabled child. He berated her, belittled her, made her feel like, do you know, when she came to me, she used to wish she was dead. She used to wish she could run away. I built that girl up, day after day after day, telling her she's loved. And now what? You say I may not be able to cope in the future, but you've got nothing specific, no actual grounds. You say that there's history, but there isn't. Well, show me that evidence then. Where's that history that I was such a bad mother before? I mean, where's the pages from Nottingham? That I've been I deserve a copy of them. Where's my contact notes? Graham, all he could say was good stuff about me. Now you're claiming, because there's been a couple of times, but at the end of the day, when there is a man going around calling her a liar, she has the right to know.
Let's put some actions down, right? We will get hold of the contact notes and look at those.
Yeah, because I want copies. I have a right to have copies. So when can I expect them?
Right, Joe wants copies.
Yeah, when can I expect them?
I will clear that with our legal and I'll let you know.
You have had 2 months to clear that with legal.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So how much longer are you saying you need?
Let's say the week after. Let's say the week.
A fortnight?
Next. Yeah.
A fortnight, fine. Right, Nottingham. Notes. That you have been told by John Hounslow, he said to give me a hard copy, and that was, must be at least 6 weeks ago, or maybe even 8, so that's another 2 months. So how much longer do you need to get those to me?
Right, okay, I'll go back and look into those. Should we say 2 weeks?
Fortnight, fine.
And you have got my report.
Yes, I have got the capacity to change report.
Okay, so what are we going to do about that?
Well, I would like you to be able to tell me why you think I can't cope.
So, right, we've had this discussion several times, so maybe the best thing is for you and I to meet and go through that report together, page by page. Okay?
That's fine.
I've got no issues with offering that.
Right. When is contact going to be increased? Because you've been promising to increase contact for 2 months.
And that is, but that's about resources, like I said.
Then why can't we have unsupervised and have a place where we meet and pick up? Me and Tanya can go to the cinema. She is not happy. She said to me at the end of the contact last time, she said, I can't wait for the day when I can come to your flat and we don't have to walk around everywhere, because all she wants to do is just cuddle up with me.
Okay, that's.
She wants a normal environment, a normal life, and you're taking it away from her.
Hang on. Before we go down that road, Joe, and I'm not going to say patronising. I know it's very emotional, because I'm not going to sit here and patronise you. I thought, though, I mean, if it was, felt to be in Tanya's interest, as you say, what would you think? What would you feel about a contact supervisor bringing Tanya out to have a visit?
That's fine. I've always said that's fine. I don't care if they want to come along and see the flat, and then at least you can have like a spot check thing. But also, that's another thing. I want copies of my spot checks. So if you need to go back and I have been asking for them for months, and I have a right by the Freedom of Information Act and all of that. I have absolutely no problems with the supervisor coming to my home. I never have had any problems with you coming round to my home. But at the end of the day, as you know, children in care suffer a great deal from the emotional trauma from being in care. So you trying to tell me that with my daughter's extra needs, being in a care home or full-time foster care is the best for her, is it?
Okay, I've just made some notes here. Right, contact notes, right, Nottingham notes. Copies of spot checks.
I'll give you 3 weeks for that.
And consider visits home. The stuff about the increasing contact, obviously, Joe, we have to look at that and the resource implications, and that's beyond my gift.
You can, as
you can.
Hang
on.
It's funny because in other places and in other contact centres, families are allowed like human beings. They're treated like human beings, funnily enough, and they're actually allowed like their own little tables and their own little spaces and all of that. If you need to get a video camera in or something like that, then fine. But there are other means.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've talked about what may possibly looking at visits home. All right. I mean, but let's go back on that point here. My understanding is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, if I've misunderstood this, is that you didn't want to have any contact centre.
There are massive issues at that contact centre, but if it means that we actually get to enjoy private family life without people kind of interfering, then it's better than nothing. But yes, it does bring up very traumatic issues because you gave my son detachment disorder. I had to watch you torture the poor boy. Slowly twist with his brain. And I've seen what that does to adults. And now what you're doing to my daughter Tanya is sick. She wants to spend more time with me. She hates that she can't. She hates that she can't have a conversation with me. She wants to the only reason you guys are supervising is it's pretty cruel actually, because she's not able to have private chats that she wants to have. You're not denying me and my rights, you're denying my daughter hers. But anyway, back to the other point that I made. As you know, children in care suffer greatly because of it, emotionally and psychologically. So how are you proposing, with her extra psychological and emotional needs, that it's the best for her, compared to a home that possibly may need a bit of support? May not. I should be fine, really. But even a little bit of support is actually in your duty of care by law anyway. Because yes, I am a single parent. And I don't believe I'm going to be getting into a relationship anytime soon because, to be quite honest, I'm too torn by the loss of my children. You are killing us. It eats away at Tanya and me. And we'll never get this time back. Never. It's gone. So it might be, your resources and things like that. But if I'm not posing a risk and I'm just not going to come to any harm, then really, because the Children Act states, contact's her right. It's her right. Now, All of this, the Children Act was brought into force because parents used to send their kids up chimneys and to work. That is meant to be there for kids who are actually being abused. Yet because you waste resources on pathetic little things like this, when I'm perfectly capable of looking after her. I did all her physio. That's why we got the certificate that said, well done on your hard work. But she got a water infection just before she started secondary school. She didn't get into the primary school in the last term. She was riddled with insecurities. She was so, and her growth spurt as well. I was told by A&E all we could do was rest her. That was the medical advice we received. I followed that medical advice. Yes, unfortunately, her physical capability did go downhill. But her weight was quite in proportion with 10, 11, 12-year-old puberty. She has gone all the right way now. And exactly the same happened to me. So what? It's quite feasible that it's a genetic thing. And she was never overweight anyway. She wasn't, and that was said by the paediatrician as well. So she was never overweight. She just got a bit pudgy. But, that I still took her to swimming every Wednesday. I took her to a hydrotherapy. But that first half a term, because that's the only time when she was in secondary school, she was knackered. And she worked so hard. And then as soon as you put her into somewhere else, without Julie or whatever, who just, she got a bad back, so Tanya said. I mean, that was who she said. It said things about me. She said Julie had said some things about me. Something like I didn't care, or what was it? I will have to think on that one to get to, but I do have a good memory, so I'm sure I will be able to remember.
I don't know that. I've got to say this. And I will say this, and knowing Julie Holton as I do, I would be very surprised. Nonetheless, if you believe that staff, however we are where we are now, if you believe the staff have said negative things about you, then I will address that. All right?
When I'm talking to Tanya, I'm only telling her the truth. Yeah. Because 2 months of 1 hour a week, you say you're looking to increase it, but there's no sign of that. A month ago you said that. That's a whole month. That's our life, We're coming up to the summer holidays. Nothing's been put forward for us to spend any time together. She wants it. She keeps asking. She gets very upset when we have to say goodbye. And the fact that you're just saying, you don't believe I'll be able to cope. You haven't put any specifics as to why, what you're basing it on. I mean, the historical events when threshold has been crossed. I was in labour. What else could I do? And when giving birth becomes child abuse, you've really got it messed up.
Okay. When are you met? When's your next contact?
Today.
I think what would be very useful, Joe, is actually, and once again, not to pry, not to be a second person. It would probably
Yeah, that's fine.
It'd be good for me to come and.
That's fine. Today, because it's Karina's birthday on Wednesday. She's 6. Not seen her since she was 5. Do you know, in fact, as a family, we've never been allowed to be together for more than an hour. It's not good for Tanya. And why hasn't she got the addresses for, writing to Zena and stuff? Why aren't you chasing that up? Because she should be able to, and I did say, so that she doesn't have to go through her father, because she shouldn't have to be nice to him to have a relationship with her sister. You could be finding out which school Zena goes to so that she can write to there. Nothing's happened about that. Now, that's Zena and Tanya's relationship. I'm not asking to write to Tanya. There could be something set up with, you could work with the social services in Nottingham to get contact between her and Karina and Nathan. I know she's done a card for Nathan, but we might be going to look for a present today. I've got a card for her to sign. I don't know whether she'll want it or not, because she sort of doesn't really think about Karina all that much, but she may want to, I don't know. It's up to Tanya, really. We sort of work it out on the day. See what she wants to do. See how hungry she is, really. Bless her.
Now, the problem I've got next week, I'm actually in court on a different case. Friday, so I'm not going to be able to do an observed session, and then
What, next week?
that's going to be a problem. I mean, today I've got a meeting at 4 o'clock this afternoon, so unfortunately that's going to be a bit problematic.
Last month, when Graham was sat there, he's done nothing but rave about how great we are together. Everybody else, all the evidence is that we are great together. We love each other so much. So again, why do you think it's best that she goes into a totally foreign, two total strangers? You know, she's 12. She's at a very crucial age in her development. Very crucial. So how is that promoting well-being by being placed with strangers and told that, oh, your mum can't cope, not even with us supporting her? So how do you think that's going to impact on her growing psychological and emotional needs?
And you're right. I mean, you know, but about foster care isn't an ideal placement for children.
No.
You know, there's no dispute with that, Joe.
Mm.
You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, that I mean, how would it possibly be? You know, a better environment. You know.
But you have recommended it as a better.
But I'm talking generally. You know, because as you say, you know aspects of children's development, and
And I know my daughter.
all the issues around that.
I know my daughter very well, and I know her specific needs, which aren't being met. They are not being met. She's being told she doesn't, you know, there's children in there with more significant needs.
And that's true.
That may be true, but she shouldn't have to come second best when I can provide for her the best.
Yeah, hang on, let me qualify that. I didn't say that she's going second best. What I said was, you know, as you know yourself, Joe, Beauty House is an environment which is geared towards the needs of children with complex needs.
She gets hit.
And needs which are more significant needs than Tanya has, and it is reflected on my report if you read it.
Right.
We need to sit down and go through that report as well.
Yep, that's fine. But what I want to know as well is because actually it's not an if, and you know, you as a service have never provided me with any support ever. Fact? Yes, fact. So how can you say that I couldn't cope when I coped for all that period of time with nobody coming in and helping or anything, that with support that I wouldn't be able to meet her needs? How are you saying that? When it has never even been tried.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because, you know, and
It would certainly cost a hell of a lot of money, but you wouldn't get as much in if you supported us.
So, talking hypothetically on that, would you accept an intrude? And just hypothetically, right?
Yeah, I've read the recommendations, and I doubt you're going to change that because you get too much money.
Well,
This is not about what's in the best interest of Tanya.
yeah, well, it's a local authority resource anyway. So
It's a charity. It's classed as a charity. I saw it.
Beauty receives some charitable donations.
It classes itself as a charity. It advertises as a charity. It had a big banner at the festival saying, "We're a charity."
And there are charitable elements to Beauty, but also it's a local authority run.
Exactly. So it's getting loads of money.
So, I mean, you know, talking hypothetically, I mean, would you accept a very intrusive package? Because that's what it would mean.
I've said, I don't care. I've never dismissed that. I even proposed that to the court. What do you mean by intrusive?
We're talking hypothetically, aren't we? And I mean, you know, and I must emphasise that this isn't about. And I must say, it's very clearly, I'm not making a statement about service provision here. I'm just talking about hypothetical.
No. So what sort of intrusion are you talking about?
You know, you carers going in maybe twice daily, supervised visits. Obviously, there's physiotherapy and occupational therapy needs. Granted, some of that would be provided elsewhere.
Well, yeah, because, let me see. Amy Duncan, you know, she actually had to change the social worker's report because you'd lied about what she said. And she's always been a supporter. So was Jill Parrish. She even gave us a certificate for well done for our hard work over the summer holidays. Where was all your support? And I was going through my medication. That's when my medication change started. Yeah, we got a certificate for well done on her physio. But as you know, last summer was appalling. It was terrible weather.
Okay, I've given you a scenario about supports from all hypothetical supports from our perspective. What would you say would make it work? What would you say?
Would make what work?
Well, if it were viable to for Tanya to come home or spend some time home, or what that would mean.
What that would be make her happy. It's what she wants.
Okay, what would you see as support? So I'm talking about.
Support really would be like when she was with before. Sometimes she can get difficult with doing physio. So I would see that a physio, and what I asked for before as well, because I did have the 7-year break.
Let's focus on that.
Yeah, well, it would still be the same because I have had that space of time where, and you haven't allowed me to be involved with any of her stuff. You told the school not to talk to me. You told the occupational therapist, physiotherapist, they weren't allowed to talk to me. So I know nothing about what's been going on. So all I've ever asked is that they come in and they get me, like, doing stuff with her, teach me what I need to do. So a physiotherapist, like they do at Bewley, they go into Bewley, they seem to manage to do that okay. Why can't they come round to the home and show me the programmes? Go through it, you know, make sure that, and then once we're confident, we can get cracking, and Tanya's becoming more independent in her sort of thoughts. And to be quite honest, Tanya would be so terrified of being snatched back away. Well, you did snatch her, and that's how she feels.
It's not that, it's about the body and the body.
Yeah, well, you still did snatch the child, and that's how she feels. She'd be too scared that you're going to do that again, that she would do anything. She wouldn't ever mess up or not, or like kick off like she used to. She would be doing her physio all the time. Otherwise, she'd be too scared that you were going to come in and take her away again. You are devastating a little 12-year-old's world, and she has been through enough.
She's certainly been through a lot. I wouldn't disagree with that, Joe. I wouldn't disagree with that.
And now you're trying to take the one family member that, and she was building up a relationship with her uncle again. She had friends. She doesn't even get to see them. Her best friend, I mean, it's funny. Her best friend used to come and stay. I managed to go, not just with one child, but with 2. She could get along with her peers. She used to go out. And now I've got a ground floor flat. Access is not a problem. It's right on top of a park. It's right near the leisure centre where she used to go swimming all the time.
Okay.
And it's not like I didn't provide meals for her. I didn't have a fridge.
No,
And I didn't get her DLA until after she'd started secondary school. It only just came in. And so I paid for her entire uniform, everything. And Christ the King's not cheap. And then she's in care 1 week, you ruin her shirts. They all go nasty grey. That's not acceptable. I paid a lot of money for them.
I mean, I've got to say, when you say about in care, you're talking about when she was in foster care or at Beauty House.
Well, I think you put her into both, didn't you?
Okay, she went on to Beauty House after her own duties, didn't she? So, are there issues with her shirt still?
She's got short sleeve ones now, and they seem to be okay.
Okay.
she will need some new trousers, and I had to go round several shops to get her the right sort of trousers, because they have to be grey, they have to be smart, but they have to be pull-up. She cannot deal with the zips and things. So, you know, I mean, what are you proposing to do in the new year for that?
Well, actually, where my thinking was going for that, if there were issues about her shirts and so on, then obviously that's another thing I would take forward.
Yeah, it's the trousers, because you can't wear the school ones. Like I said, you have to really search high and low. I mean, I know where I got the last ones, and I'll go and see, but, you know, at the end of the day, you've got the care. It's in your responsibility.
Well, I'm sure school trousers can be sourced, yeah.
What about the phone? Because actually, I mean, it's her legal right. She's allowed a phone. And she's allowed to use the phone at any point. But the only reason, like, she can't access it is because of her disability. So you're denying her what every other normal child in care could just go to a payphone and use it. When she was living with her dad, I was on the phone to her every night reading her a story for an hour. Why can't I speak to her now on the phone?
Okay, I'll take that forward.
Why can't I speak to her now on the phone?
Well,
what risk do I pose there?
that's something we would need to look at, but I will take forward the issue of the paying for her. All right?
You've already did that over a month ago. So, can she have the phone? Because she asked me. Graham's also asked as well. So we're waiting. We've waited 4 weeks. You've had plenty of time to go to legal and ask. And you're always using legal as an excuse for not answer our questions.
All right. I will follow that up and give you an answer on that by next week.
By next week? Good. I can tell that to Tanya because she's very excited about that. She wants it. And probably not to phone me. Probably just to get all the apps, to be quite honest, and to play on it. So... But she's 12. Most 12-year-olds got a mobile phone. So she should be allowed that. And I should be able to, she should be able to call me whenever she wants. So you should be, are you offering her that service? That facility?
I will come back to you on that one.
Because she feels bad saying anything. Oh, I don't know if I should say this. Oh, I don't know if I can say it. That's not right.
Well, sad that she, because actually uni house is quite an open, welcome environment.
Yeah, but this is because you've got her in care and she doesn't know what to say because she thinks she's doing something wrong. She's desperate to get it right so she can come home.
Because actually, it has been, I know staff have been extremely nurturing with her, and she hasn't been put under any pressures and things and anxieties which she has had. I think staff have worked hard to try and alleviate some of those.
Well, they haven't done enough.
Well,
yet when she was in my care and less time, I alleviated far more. She made giant leaps in her self-confidence, her self-esteem when she was with me. So, but you're saying that you provide better care than I do?
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I said that I'm sure that the staff are sensitive to Tanya.
No, you said I couldn't possibly provide her with good enough care. You still haven't actually explained why or how.
Well, I thought I have. But
No, you just said a lot of words that you think I wouldn't be able to cope, but you haven't said why.
What we will do is we'll grab that report, we'll sit down and we'll go through it together.
Fine.
Right? Page by page. Yeah.
Okay, do you want to book that in for a date now?
Yeah. That's right. Okay. Now I'm looking at Thursday the 18th.
Where?
Here?
That's fine.
Or what time works as well?
Anytime really. Well, I prefer not morning speak at like 9 or something because it takes an hour to get in, so
Well, 2 o'clock.
that's fine.
If there's a problem with that, I will let you know. We'll reschedule. Okay.
Okay, and what about another meeting for discussing contact? Because Graham should be able to
Yeah.
be party because he
And
should
I
be heard.
And I apologise for that because I never, or almost never, miss meetings. And if I'm at fault, I do apologise. I'm not going to sit here and say, you know.
It was made for 4 weeks after the last one. We were all three of us there.
I
I know. I haven't accepted it. I'm not going to because it's unacceptable.
and, okay, Thursday the 18th at 2 o'clock.
Right, fine. Right, I'm going to go and get my coffee.